So today we would be looking at the round robin or routing engine functionality. So the topic for today is leveraging round robin strategies for lead and deal assignments. Let's see what all we would be covering in today's topic. So first we would be starting with what is round robin, and in the Kylas CRM system it is called routing engine, which is a separate marketplace application. Then we would be looking at how to use round robin in the Kylas CRM, and third we would be looking at how to route your lead and deal ownership with different strategies in Kylas CRM. So basically we would be looking at how the function will work in terms of different strategies that can be applied, and the leads or deal can be shared within the users of our Kylas CRM system. Okay. So with this, I would be sharing my screen and you would be looking at how this actually works in the system. Okay, so now I have shared my screen and I hope it is visible to everyone. Okay, so when we log into the system, this is the default dashboard or the preferred dashboard is the first screen that we would be seeing. Now, what we need to do is, let me do one thing. Okay. So as I earlier said, the routing engine is separate marketplace application that we will need to install in order to use the different strategies that we have. So in order to install, we would need to navigate to the Kylas marketplace that can be accessed from the burger icon available on top right hand side corner. Okay. So under here, you can see the Kylas routing engine. Okay, so this is the application. So once you click on this application, you will see a install button on the top left hand side. Okay, so once you click on install, it will ask certain permission in order to access the data in this system. And once you allow, it will redirect you to the sign up page where you will need to put your email address, name, and a password. After verifying your email address, it will be available under the installed app section. So here we can click on view detail, and this is the first screen that you would see, that is the API keys. So how I got this API key? Let's see that as well. So what we will need to do is from the CRM setting, we will need to go to the integration section, and here you will see the API key listed, which is active. So I can copy this API key and paste over here and save. Okay. So once saved, now we have built a connection between the CRM and marketplace application. On this marketplace, you will see there are different tabs. First is manage user. Second, we have routing flow. Third, we have routing logs. Second last, we just saw where we update the API key. And last is the help section where you can actually see how the installation of this application is done and how it can be used. Okay. Yeah. So now if we see the first step we have completed, that is adding a API key. Second is manage users. Okay. So under manage user, what we will be doing is fetching users from the CRM system that we need to use in the routing rules. So that now we can see I have fetched total 3 users since I do have 3 users in my system. So once we fetch users, so the syncing will start in the background and all the users you will see on this manage user section. So once you complete the fetching of these users, you can activate those users or even deactivate so that those users cannot be used in the routing flow or the rules that we would be setting in order to route our leads or deal. Okay, so let's see how we can set up a rule. So far what we have seen is what is round robin. So basically it helps to equalize your flow of lead and deal to the different users. Plus on top of that, we have different strategies that will help in conditional way to assign the ownership of your lead or deal to the users that we would be adding. Okay, so let's see how to use round robin in the Kylas system. So now what we have done is we have installed this application, we have added the API key, then we have added or fetch the users that we need to use in the routing flow. Okay. So on this, you will see a add routing flow button over here. So once you click, you will see a create new flow screen on your system. So I have already created one. So let me show you that in the edit mode. So on top of the screen or the first section that you will see is the name where we can actually give a name to this routing flow, then a description based on your preference. Now, under this three field would be the actual field on which this routing will actually work. So as of now, under the entity, we have lead and deal, these two type of entity on which we can actually use the routing strategies. So as of now, I have selected lead entity. Then under trigger event, we have two types. One is create and second is update. So whenever there is a new entry or new lead creation happen in the system will act based on the condition that you will be putting and assign the lead record to the user that would be using in the rule section. Also, same applies when there is an update performed on a lead. So based on this trigger, you can have the routing on this trigger types, whether create or update. And last, we have the status, whether it is active or not. Then under here, we have set routing rules section where we would be actually setting up the different rules that will help to bifurcate or assign or assignment of this our lead or deals. So for this rule, I have given the simple name, that is rule 1. Then under condition, we can use all the fields that are available in this system. So as of now, what I have done is I have set a condition on preferred city. And under the parameter or the operator, I have selected equals. And under the value, I have selected Pune. So since preferred city, which is a pick list, so I can see a pick list having multiple values or the drop down having multiple values on the actual field. Okay, so let me show you that field as well. So when I go here and add a lead, okay, and let's look at the particular field. So you will see I have preferred city as a tick list drop down having this many values, and same values I'm seeing on the routing engine under the field values, the value that I need to consider in the rule. So basically what we have done is when the preferred city equals to Pune, okay, then under the strategies, we have three different strategies that we can use for the preferred city equals to Pune. Now, what exactly each of these strategy means? Let's look at this with a quick info button that is available exactly below the strategy field. So let me make a little bit broader this particular section. Okay. Okay, so here you can actually see what each of these rules actually does. So first we'll look at round robin with load checking. So what exactly it does is, in a simple word, if I need to put, so in this particular rule, there will be no condition checking, meaning the condition that we have used, when it met, it will start assigning to the different users, and the users which has least count, it will start assigning to that user at the first. So you can read out this, that this strategy will check the existing number of records assigned to each user in a routing irrespective of the condition mentioned in the rule. So for example, let's say considering this condition that we have used. So when we are saying when the preferred city is Pune, then assign it between this two user. So what it actually gonna do is that when the city is Pune, then the strategy will check the total number of records assigned to each user, irrespective of the condition. Meaning, so we have two users. One is Joe Vic and second is Siddharth Khara. So what system will does over here? So system will check that this condition is satisfying and how many records each of these users have, regardless of whether the user do have a lead for Pune location or not. So it will check overall count of records each user has, and then the user which has least count of records, it will start assigning those records, meaning preferred city where it is equals to Pune, to the particular user. Then second, we have simple round robin. So here it will not check the load of any user, but when the condition satisfy, it will start assigning the lead records to each of the user one by one in a sequence manner. So when I say in a sequence manner, so the way we are adding users on this user section. So let's take an example that I have got a lead which is for Pune location, and regardless of how many records Jovik have or Siddhant Karat have, it will first assign a record to Jovik and then Siddhant Karat, and this cycle will continue regardless of records or whatever the load each user have. Then we have third rule, that is round robin with conditional load checking. So in this rule, what exactly system gonna do? It will check whether the condition satisfy. Then it will check how many records each of this user have with the condition, and will start assigning the lead records to the user which has least count of this condition. So this is how the system can explain you what exactly each of this strategy will work and what exactly gonna happen in this each strategy. So we would be looking at this strategy one by one. Then under user section, we can add the users from the system. So since I have total 3 user, so I have added 2 user for our data assignment section. Then the second last, we have look back window in number of days. So here also we have given a small info icon which gonna explain what exactly this field does. So what it does is actually it looks at the number of records that were assigned based on this window. So let's take an example of what we have given here. So today is 5th of Jan, or we can take a real example. So today is 3rd of August. So what exactly it's gonna do is when I add one number in this field, then it's gonna check how many lead records were assigned to these 2 users on 2nd of August plus 3rd of August, since we have added one look back window, meaning it's gonna go back to previous day, the number of days that we would be putting up here. So when we put 1, it's gonna go back to previous day. When we put 2, then it will check previous 2 days load, and then it will start assigning the records between these 2 users. So basically we are giving system checking of frequency, that how many days it needs to go back in terms of checking the load of each user, and then start assigning based on it. At the last, we have one small section that is a checkbox, which simply read out that include manually created leads. So now we are also supporting the leads or deals that are created from the system as well, meaning manually created as well. Okay, now let's look at the actual example of it. Okay. So for that, to have it better understanding, let me open up a report where we can actually see what is the total count. So here on this report, what I have done is I have created a report for users and number of records each one have for the Pune city. So what I'm gonna do is preferred city equals to Pune and apply changes. So here, if we see this Siddhant and Joe Way, both of them have 5 leads, which is an equal count. Okay. Now, what we would be doing here is let's change the rule to a simple round robin. Okay. So here, what is the simple rule? Is so what simple rule defines, so it will does not check the load for each of the user and start assigning the leads to each of these users one by one. Now let's check it out. Okay, so what I'm doing here is this is one of my LCF form, which is lead capture form. So I'm entering one lead from this form into this system. So I'm giving sample name over here, sachin2@sample.com. Then I'm gonna put a mobile number over here and gonna use Pune as a preferred city. So if you remember, we have used Pune as a preferred city in the condition. So if I choose Mumbai and submit, So let's see it in the system. So if you see Sachin 2, which is for the preferred city Mumbai, has been assigned to Arjun Kharat, which is the tenant of this particular system. So since here the condition does not match, the system direct does not acted on it and routed it to the actual tenant. Now, when we go to our logs of routing engine, so here you can see that this lead. Okay, so let me show you the ID of this lead. So if I look for this ID, so this is the newly created deal that we just throw to the system via LCF form. Okay, so under error message, you will see why this particular rule does not work. So it has given me error that no routing rule match for the lead, since we have used a different city for this particular lead. Now let's create a lead with the Pune city. I'm going to create another lead. I'm gonna select Pune as a city. So if we look at over here, so each of this Siddhant and Joe, both of them have same number of records. So what it gonna does over here is, so the last lead that was assigned to Joe, and under the rule, if we see, we have Joe on the first place. So what it should do is it should assign the next lead to Siddhant Kharat. Okay, so let me select Pune and submit. So let's go back to our lead listing page and let's look at here. See the changes. So right now we can see the Joe Week and Siddhant Kharat. Now they do both have different counts over here. Okay, so here if we see, now the lead has been assigned to Joe Week. So what happened over here? So this system does not check what kind of load each of these users have and started assigning the leads to the first user, which falls under the rules of this particular routing engine. So if I create another lead, then it should be directed to Siddhant Kharat. So let me show you one example of that. So I'm gonna create Sachin 4 as another lead. And then put preferred city as a Pune and submit. So we see Sachin 4 that has been assigned to Siddhant Kharat, since the previous lead was assigned to Joe Wick. And if we go to our routing engine and look at the log, so here you can see the lead trigger is lead create, the entity ID on which the rule got applied, the routing flow by which this particular lead got routed, the rule name, the previous owner, then the new owner. If there is any error message, the created date along with time, which is a timestamp of the record, and under the action section, you will see more info. So what we would be seeing over here is the routing rule condition, which is preferred city equals to Pune. Now here we do not have any look back window. Then we have entity values that are received. So the entity ID, the email address that was used in the form, the previous owner, then the last name created by, then the first name updated by, the created via ID, phone number, the created via name, product inquiry, which is a LCF form name, the lead creation form name, the type, Since it's a lead capturing form, preferred city is Pune. And here you will see round robin assignment between these two users. So which we have added in the rule section, and user selected from the rule, which is Joe Wick. Same for this other rule as well, or the other record. Okay, so this was about how the simple rule actually works. So what it does, it finds that regardless of what load each user have, it will start assigning the leads to the user in a sequence one by one, which we have added in the user section of routing engine. Now let's look at the second rule, that is round robin with load checking. So under this, what exactly it gonna does is it gonna check the condition is matched, then it needs to route the leads to the user that we have used in the user section. Now here what it gonna do is it will check the load of the users that are in the user section and will start assigning the leads to the user which has least count of records. So let me save this and click here for apply changes. So let me add a manual lead over here. So what I'm gonna do for this one, let me add it and change it to Joe Wick. So now if we go back to our report again and actually see, okay, let me change, and I also need to change the city over here so that we will have a little more example for the second rule. Okay. Now let's hit on apply changes. Okay. So now if we see here, Joe Week, which has total 7 leads for the Pune location, and Siddhant Kharad, which is another user, which has total 6 leads. Okay. Now under the rule section, what we have does over here is round robin with load checking. So what it gonna does, when this condition satisfy, it gonna redirect or assign the leads between these two users, but it will pick the user first which has the least count of records. So here in our case, Siddhant Kharat, which has total 6 counts. So let me add a lead to this system. Okay, so I'm gonna add Sachin 5 as another lead. At the rate sample.com, let me add a phone number to this and select preferred city. So here Siddhant Kharat has least count. So in this case, let's see what will happen. So I have submitted this. I have got another lead, that is Sachin 5, and it has been assigned to Siddhant Kharat. So if we check over here, Siddhant Kharat, this user has least count compared to Joe Wick. So we have considered this two users only, Joe Wick and Siddhant Kharat. Now if I click on apply changes, now I should see both Joe and Siddharth should have equal count of leads for the Pune city. So as soon as I click on apply changes, now I'm seeing both users now have same count of leads. Okay. Now this was about the second rule. Now let's check our third rule, that is round robin with conditional load checking. So what exactly it does? is in this strategy, it actually check the load of this particular condition. So to put it in very simple word, so it will check that the preferred city equals to Pune. So how many records each of this user have with this condition, meaning where the preferred city is Pune, and it will assign the next lead to the user which has least count of records. So earlier what we did, so earlier Siddhant Kharat, which has least count, and the next lead got assigned to Siddhant Kharat only. So now what we will do, we will add another lead to Joe Wick's name, so that we will see that the next lead will get assigned to Siddharth only. So here what I'm doing is I'm adding this Pune city so that it will actually fit in our case. Okay. Now here again, Siddharth Khara, this user have total 7 count, and Jovik who has total 8 count, which is less, which is greater than compared to Siddharth Khara. So let's add another rule with the lead creation form. And now what we have done, we have used the round robin with conditional load checking. So here what it gonna does is it gonna check the load of this condition against each user, and then we'll start assigning lead to the user which has least count. Pune and submit. Let's look at our system. So we have got a lead, Sachin 7. And if we see here, the owner of this record is showing Siddhant Kharat. Let's look at to our report. So under report, we can see Joe Wick, which has total 8 count of records, and Siddharth, which has less compared to Joe. So in this case, what routing engine does is it match the condition that the preferred city is Pune and how many records of Pune city each of these two users have. And now what it does, it assigns the next record to the user which has least count. So when I click on apply changes, what it did is it equalized the count between these two users. Okay, now let's look at our another rule. So what I'm gonna do over here is I'm gonna check this box, which will also include the leads that we will be creating manually. So let me save. Okay. So let me add a new and here what I'm gonna do is so let me have the owner as Arjun, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select preferred city as Pune and save. Okay, so what we did over here, we added a lead manually, Sachin 8, whose owner is Arjun Khara and preferred city is Pune. Now let's Okay. So now let's look at the report. So what it does over here, so it moved this particular lead to Jovic since on the report both of Joe and Siddharth, both of them had same count, which is 8, and it started assigning the leads based on the load, and it's when now here the load was equal on both sides for Joe and Siddharth. So what it did, it assigned the next lead to first person or the first user that we have used in the user section. Okay. Now if I create another lead manually, now in this case the next lead, that is 9, would be assigned to the Siddhankara user. So let me add another lead. And selected Pune as a city. Now save. So if you see, the owner has been changed to Siddhant Kharag. So let me add one more column over here, that is the ID, and save. Okay. Let's look at the log on this manually created leads. So what we can see over here, so a lead that we added previously, that is for the 8 number, Sachin 8, for the ID 285850 has been assigned to Joe B. And the next lead that we recently created, that is Sachin 9, has been assigned to the next user, that is Siddhant Kharaj. Since the previous lead got assigned to Jovic, so here the count got increased for Joe compared to Siddhant, and the next lead got assigned to Siddhant Kharaj. So this is how the lead assignment will be done to the different users with the different strategies that are available in the routing engine. Okay, so let's have a recap of what we have seen today. Let me share back my PPTs again. Okay, so what we have seen today is what is round robin, how it can be used in the Kylas CRM system. We have seen how we can install the routing engine application. We have also seen how we can fetch users and create different rules with the strategies. So we have seen 3 major rules in the 3 strategies that are available in the system. First is simple round robin, where the system does not check the load of each records or load of each users, but it will start assigning the leads to each of these users one by one based on the sequence, the way we have added or the way the users are placed in the users field of routing engine system. Next, we have seen the round robin with load checking. So here when the condition matches, what it does is it assigns the leads to the different users who has the least count, comparing the records regardless of condition that is used in the routing rule. Then third, we have seen round robin with conditional load checking. So here what system does is system check the condition of each records and how many leads with this condition each of these users have, and will start assigning new records to the user which has least count of this condition matching with the we have used in the routing system. Last but not the least, we have also seen how the lead can be routed with the simple checkbox for the manual lead and deal creation. So we are not only routing the leads or deals that are coming from different sources, but also we are giving ability to include the leads or deal that are created manually in the system. So this was all about today's webinar. So I hope this webinar was helpful for you. Stay tuned with us for the upcoming features that we will be releasing also, and stay connected. Thank you.